In the raw. RICKFORD Guyana Free Media, and I'm your friend, your host, your brother, Hajji, Dr. Roshan. And it's been a hot day. And I've been sitting here managing the affairs in the compound and running my business for the day. With me is the Kacho News, ladies and gentlemen. And it's the article column by Freddie Kissoon, Monday, November 17th, today. And I'm sending this out now to inspire those overseas, so whatever few votes or hundreds of votes could see this, friends and family, I want you to share this. It has to do with LETITIA James is going to lose tomorrow, and some of us are in a campaign for her to lose the Attorney General election in New York City, particularly because of her racist inclination, as per her brother, RICKFORD Burke. As per her brother, RICKFORD Burke, LETITIA James admits that she is the sister of Indian hater RICKFORD Burke, and that she supports him, and they encourage mayhem and destruction in Guyana. And so I'm supporting Mr. Henry, the Attorney General of the Republic. Normally I'm a Democrat. But there are times when you have to cross the threshold, when you have to think out of the box and make decisions. So I've asked all my friends and families in New York to vote for Mr. Henry, the Republican candidate for Attorney General. Now, Freddie Kissoon is a man whom I generally respect as a writer. Sometimes I disagree also, but I still respect him. And as a commentator and as a political analyst, he predicted that Lula would have won the election in Brazil, and he predicts that Attorney General LETITIA James is going to lose tomorrow. So let us read this, dear friends and families. In the raw. Your friend, your brother, me, Hajji, Dr. Roshan. Article, and that is the handsome man. Always, I just smile. My friend, you know, ladies and gentlemen, would you believe I do a lot of reading and commentary of this man, and we have never met? One time we said hello. One time we sat at a desk at a ministry, and we had a discussion, and that was it. And we never met, we never talked. We never eat black pudding or white pudding. So I can't eat black pudding because of the blood. But I would have had a cup of some white pudding with him, halal of course, with some cane juice or some kind of morbi or something, one day I hope. Now, LETITIA James is going to lose tomorrow, and I hope so. So I'm campaigning here, friends and family, brothers and sisters, Guyanese of all ethnicities, including the Afro-Guyanese. Afro-Guyanese are not racist. He is coddling a few over there, encouraging them, Afro-Guyanese overseas, to be hateful of Guyana and of Indo-Guyanese, but our peoples in this country are not racist. The government is not ethnic in any way as it comes to priority. It serves all the people as they best should. Dear, beloved, divine friends and families. So we have to just try to eliminate these people in whatever position they may have, and for them to face the consequences. We believe if LETITIA James loses the election, and as rightly so predicted, hopefully, by Freddie Kissoon, that RICKFORD Burke could be extradited to face criminal charges in Guyana, in some of the Guyana jails. So let me read, ladies and gentlemen. I believe in any election, one's choice is limited by party structure. I support the Labour Party in the UK and the Democratic Party in the US, but there are individuals in every party that voters have problems with. I'm one of those kinds of people, as Freddie. I am also a supporter of the Democratic Party. And as one with American interest, yes, more so. But there are people that I do have issues with at times. Freddie is right. The Democratic Party is billions of miles ahead of the Republican Party on issues of class, color, rights, trade unionism, gender equality, immigration, etc. But there are persons in the Democratic Party I would have a hard time voting for if those persons are running as an individual and not part of a party slate like proportional representation. In this context, the first past the post format or constituency system has its advantages over PR. In PR, if you like a party and dislike a few names on the list, then you have no choice because you are voting for a slate. I wish if I had a choice when I vote to vote for only some. The FTPT, first past the post it is, in order to win, will have to put up mavericks or rebels or anti-establishment, even though the elites in the party do not like them. It is what the constituency means. For example, if Guyana had first past the post, FTPT, Michael Carrington would win his seat for the AFC up the Linden Highway because he is a popular and likable figure. The elitists in AFC who do not like Carrington's independent style will have to select him up if they want the seat. The U.S. primary system is a workable solution that ensures the option to choose an individual. In the primaries, one can vote for and against a particular candidate. If I had to vote, there is no way in the primaries I would choose Kamala Harris over Elizabeth Warren. I repeat, if I had to vote, there is no way in the primaries I would choose Kamala Harris over Elizabeth Warren. Harris is a half Indian and half West Indian, but color and race never mattered and will never matter to me, says Freddie Kissoon, and so to me, ladies and gentlemen. Color is not important. I think in terms of politics, Warren would serve the interests of the lower and middle class in the U.S. more effectively. In tomorrow's race, Guyanese who usually vote for candidates from the Democratic Party are faced with a worrying choice. It is a difficult task facing them tomorrow, but they would punish LETITIA James for her intellectual mediocrity, which means lack of intellectual brilliance, much like her brother, who only can spew hate and venom to get some support of some low-lifers, so to say, ladies and gentlemen, in New York City. Guyanese should not abstain, but vote against James. I think the Guyanese franchise is large enough to weaken James. She is running again for Attorney General, but she is an enemy of democracy in Guyana. So with this in mind, I wish to call upon the Guyanese populace, all Caribbean people of all ethnicities and the African peoples, that we want no racism and ethnicity and no hate and no trauma to be created in Guyana or any part of the world. So we want LETITIA James out as Attorney General. Let me move on. Guyanese should not abstain but vote against James. I think the Guyanese franchise is large enough, and I did that already. Miss James' understanding of Guyanese politics is narrow and silly, because she listens, to my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, to her silly brother and to hatists of this great country of ours, filled with a mighty intellectual, most decent Afro-Guyanese who have helped, all of whom have helped to educate us, who came after them in this Guyana. You wonder how she got elected in the first place if she does not understand the complexities of politics. The essential task of any politician begging for votes is to study the variations and configurations of politics. In New York, there are groups of people that support the opposition in Guyana. There are large constituencies of Guyanese also in New York that endorse the ruling party in Guyana and all the countries in the world. I may add, friends and families, ladies and gentlemen. Ms. James' requirement is to study the issues in Guyana, research the nuances, and arrive at strategies. Ms. James is playing the gallery of the PNC supporters and displaying complete contempt for the supporters of the government and for all the countries of the world, including the United States, and the governor and the mayor of the United States of America and New York City, ladies and gentlemen. She should not get emotional, my friends, my words, as her brother, and follow the words of her brother who suffers from very serious inanities, stupidities, and gross, idiotic behavior and tendencies. She will not find support for her theories among academics in the US and within the Biden administration. You do the research before you throw up wild generalization. And then also remember, the Trump government fully supported the new government which won the election. Ms. James is unsure of her capacity, ability, and intellectual competence. That is why in the US midterm elections, which shall be completed tomorrow, she is the only contestant in the US midterms that chose not to debate her opponent. For the evasion of that absolute requirement, she should not be the Attorney General of New York if she is afraid to debate, and she's afraid to face the man, and she suffers from timidity, and she lacks temerity. We must know, ladies and gentlemen, that she is unfit for the appointment. So says Freddie, Kissoon, and yours truly. Miss James is not good for the democratic stability of Guyana, and that is why there should be extensive canvassing among Guyanese to ensure her opponent wins. I am told that her rival, Michael Henry, has already been approached by several groups of Guyanese that have pointed out the pitfall of Miss James' description of Guyana's political sociology and the nature of governance. She made a big mistake, ladies and gentlemen, too, to listen to her lost soul brother and those of his ilk and not taking the debate. She has made colossal errors, and good for her. I have been informed that Henry has already been using those pitfalls to his advantage. Ms. James knows nothing about the Guyanese diaspora, and therefore she made some self-destructive directions about Guyanese politics. She should not have been only hooking around Brooklyn East, New York area. She needed to go more in the Queens, the little Guyana, which was made possible by people who advocated tremendously. I've been informed how Henry has already been using those pitfalls. And talking about LETITIA James, she is ignorant of the things she can go to. She's ignorant if she thinks she can go to the Secretary of State and convince him that Guyana is an undemocratic state, as if they don't know through the U.S. Embassy and the U.S. State Department. Something is wrong with her skull. I would say like her brother's skull. Rickford Burke. She will be asked for an analysis on her researchers of the State Department will juxtapose her document with what its researchers and the Georgetown Embassy have to offer. Freddie Kissoon is saying, as we come to an end, ladies and gentlemen, Miss James got deceived by those who have their own agenda when it comes to Guyanese politics, and the main one was her brother. And then there's Paul Slowe, who has made some serious error as to his legacies as a police officer. That is their right to oppose the Guyana government. But Miss James should know better. I think she's going to lose because she does not know better, says Freddie Kissoon in this amazing article penned. So, ladies and gentlemen of Guyana, and those who are supporting and voting in Queens and other parts of New York, vote for Henry, the Republican candidate. I say, vote for Henry, the Republican candidate, Michael Henry. Friends and families, your brother, me, Hajji, Dr. Roshan in Dara. Say thank you. A farewell.